Managing student finance can be very tricky. For many of you, this will be the first time having to manage your own money, managing rent, food bills, and whatever else you want to spend on. So with this in mind, some tips that I would offer you is start off with a budget. Know how much you've got in your account, how much you spend for rent, how much you spend roughly on food every week or every month. And then if you need to cut back on anything, or if you've got extra money, then you'll know roughly where you are, and to keep track of this in some form of diary, or to have some form of book based for finance. Another tip that I would offer is if your landlord will let you, pay as much as your rent up front as you can. For my second and third year, I have been paying 3 to 4 months worth of rent, which means that I haven't had to worry about that. Yes, it means that I've had to pay a massive chunk in one go, but it means that I've only had to worry about my food and potentially any extras that I have needed to worry about. Maybe not so much in the pandemic, but something else I used to do is to shop around. Looking at deals in different stores and finding different places that will do cheaper deals means that I was able to save little bits of money here and there, which over time did add up. As well as this, don't be afraid to look at the yellow stickers. Now, again, this can depend on what you're buying, but if you think that it won't go off, or if you think that you would eat it all before it would, then that is something that many students do. As well as this, don't be afraid of like store brand stuff. So for example, the Asda's own mash. It's not great. I'm not gonna lie, but it is as good as what a lot of instant mashes is, and it's a lot cheaper. I mean, 40p compared to £1, and you could probably make a few meals out of it. And finally, my last tip is to create a food diary. Plan your meals in advance so you know exactly what you need. When you go shopping, you can write a list, and then you can stick to that list rather than going out without a list and spending a lot more money than you may need.
Hi everyone, my name is Nick and I'm a university student at Anglian Ruskin in Cambridge, and I'm currently studying business with events management on my second year. And today I'm just going to do a quick little vlog post on my top tips for student finance. So when I was applying for university, the first thing I had to do was apply for student finance, and I have to admit it did take quite a time to complete out fully, just because it takes information from myself but also my family. But once it's done, it's done. But I would recommend getting that done as soon as possible, just because it can take a while to process through sometimes, and it can be quite stressful when you're counting the days down to start university, but you're still waiting for that confirmation of your student finances as well. So we recommend getting that done as soon as possible. And as well, to keep in mind as well, when you're at university, each academic year you need to reapply for student finance. You don't need to recomplete it, but you just need to re-update it just so you get the finance each year. As well, I would really recommend that you get a student bank account when you start university, just because they come with quite a few really good benefits. So some bank accounts come with like a free rail card, and they also just allow you to get like an overdraft plan. So let's say if you're quite tight with your finances and you've got bills or rent which due, which takes you over into your overdraft, you won't be charged any interest with those fees if you've got a planned overdraft with your student bank account. So it can be really useful and just kind of release some stress with the finance. As well, I would recommend reaching out to your university and seeing if they have any finance teams or any support. So my university, we have finance advisors who just help with some, like giving feedback or recommendations or tips. And something that I've learned, which I found really useful, is just breaking down my finance into different categories. So I have one for bills, one for rent, one for food, and then one for like leisure activities, just so that I'm aware of how much I'm spending in each area, and so I'm just a bit on top of it a little bit more. I would recommend as well, it's not for everybody, it just depends how much time you have on your studies, but I would recommend getting a flexible part-time job just to help get a boost of income into the finance. I would recommend speaking to a university, because they might have some roles that students might be able to apply for, such as student ambassador, and with university they're quite aware that your studies come over work, so they're quite lenient on your flexibility, which is really helpful. But yeah, I hope that these tips have helped you out with your student finance, and good luck with applying.